Time to give old Reynolds a call.
Hello, sir. How you doing, man?
Great. How are you doing?
I am doing fantastic. I'm doing A-OK.
Have the kids started back to school?
Kids, you're gonna hate this. Kids started back on July 31st. Isn't that diabolical?
July?
July. I know. It's horrible.
What is going on with the world? I don't get it.
I don't know, man. I don't either. They the way it works in the state of Georgia is they give the kids a kind of a fall break where I guess they have about a week or something. It pops up towards the end of September. But I don't know. I'd rather have the kids out of school a little bit longer. I mean, it's bull crap, but it is what it is, man. There you go.
Well, what about vacations? Did you go anywhere big? I guess I don't know. What is the vacation game like with when you're a Weather Channel meteorologist? I mean, is it? Do you get to take the kids with you every now and then to the fun zones?
Oh, yeah. It's probably not too cool for Daddy to take kids to wildfires or tornadoes or hurricanes or what have you. What we do is usually we go down to Florida during the times of the years where the tropics are really, really quiet. Now, the thing is, my wife will try to plan something for us in October, but she plans events with the caveat that, hey, if you guys go to Florida and I've got a Category 5 storm off the Texas coast, Daddy can't go. Right. And that's how we have to do it. But some years it gets awfully busy. Some years it's we can do those things, so you never really know. And it's always a surprise every year.
So how'd you even get into weather? I kind of, growing up, I kind of wanted to be a meteorologist. I always used to pretend and come up with fake forecasts to people, and it'd be not a cloud in the sky, and I'd be telling everyone, the term severe thunderstorm, to me, was like the most exciting thing in the world as a kid. So, I mean, are you one of those? How'd you even get into the game?
Always been fascinated with weather, always as a kid. My dad had been a pilot in Vietnam, had flown helicopters. My grandfather, before him, flew in World War II. Now, when I was a kid, they were all both back in civilian life at this time. They had a keen interest in weather, and I did too. I mean, it's one of the earliest memories I have is as a kid at my grandparents' house in Ponte Vedra, Florida, going outside and watching clouds cover, really just clouds racing across the sky. So we had an approaching tropical storm, and that's really where the bug started. And I was also that idiot. Whenever the weather would get really bad, I was the first one to the window. I was the one sitting out on the front lawn looking up the skies. Right. But the number one thing, to be honest with you, is I've got the attention span of a doorknob. I really do. And the great thing about weather is that it's constantly changing. No 2 days are alike. There's always, you can have a pattern, say a lot of hot days in a row, but still, even then, there'll be a subtle difference here or there. There are no identical carbon copies when it comes to weather.
Yeah, one of my earliest memories is like of a tree falling down in the yard, like with during a tornado and trying to build a fort,
sure.
and having this keen awareness that my mom should not be on the phone during this lightning storm for some reason, even though I was like 4 years old. Apparently, I knew enough because wasn't that a thing? Couldn't like lightning zap you through the phone or something?
Yeah, there are all kinds of things you hear. You hear that you shouldn't be taking a shower or shouldn't be in the bathtub during a thunderstorm. There are all kinds of things you hear like that. I mean, nowadays, I think we've refined a little bit of some of the precautions that we've taken. There was one time I do remember as a kid that we were always told to open up all your windows if a tornado came close by because it would cause the house to depressurize, and if not, the interior pressure will cause the house to explode or that kind of thing.
So don't do that.
Don't do that, and not at all.
So what about the bath thing though? Because like grandmama still like harps on that. Like, what's the deal? Like you.
Well, I mean, you got to think water is a great conductor of electricity, and if you have a thunderstorm outside, I mean, you've got a strike that comes within a few feet of your house. I mean, sure, plausibly it could cause a problem. Same deal. You know how when we were kids, and whenever you hear a thunderstorm, and people are told, "Oh, get out of the pool, get out of the lake, get out of the water."
Yeah.
You do it. But I will be honest with you. I don't ever recall a single instance of ever hearing anyone ever hurt by a lightning strike hitting a pool. I swear. I probably have to hit the Google machine and check it out. But no, I don't recall a single documented case. Now I hear golfers getting hit all the time. I hear people riding horses or fishermen getting struck by lightning, that kind of thing. So I know it can happen. But I never recall a kid in school saying, "Hey, Wally Jensen, the guy in third grade. Yeah, you hear what happened to him? Kind of called pool.
Pool lightning.
No. Yeah, you never hear those things.
So if I'm out on the golf course,
Yeah.
And the lightning's like, is it just a random thing were I to be struck by it? Like I happen to be in the wrong place or at the wrong time, or is my very presence actually drawing the lightning?
Well, here's the thing. I do think it's a little bit of both. The thing is, you're going to lessen your chances if you get off a golf course and go into a house. You'll be in much better shape. The thing is, when you're in a golf course, if you happen to be one of the tallest things around in a really flat, wide open area, yeah, lightning tends to hit higher things. And if you're the highest thing, well, then that inevitably will make you target. I mean, you could go ahead and play the entire round, and maybe you won't have any problems. But why take your chances?
Sure.
Plus, at the same time, you have this stick in your hand that's made of steel and aluminum. Pretty damn good conductor of electricity.
Yeah, that'll do it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lightning rod, so you definitely want to put that down. Yeah.
So what's the most like dangerous weather situation you've been in?
You know, the coolest weather situation I've ever been in was not actually with the Weather Channel. Not dangerous, but kind of fascinating. I was actually covering a winter storm in Truckee, California for CNN some years ago. And we were in Truckee and up on the top of the Sierra Nevada, where the interstate happens to go. We could not get a signal out there, so we did something that's called a look live, where you leave your live truck down in Truckee, then you get in the car, you drive up on the interstate where the interstate is closed for the most part, and you get video, and then you go back down the hill to where your live truck is, and you feed it back to Atlanta. The network runs the video that you have.
Right.
Well, the idea was we were going to go up there and show how the snow happened to be and how the wind happened to be. And so my photographer and I got in our SUV, drove all the way up to Donner Pass, right there in the full-throated gale of this Pacific storm that was raging in. And I swear to you, was able to step out the car, hold on to the side of the car, go to the front of the vehicle. Photographer went on the other side, and we're going to meet on the front bumper, and I was going to do what's called the television stand-up. The snow was so incredibly thick, the wind was roaring so hard, I could stick my hand directly in front of my face and not see it.
Good grief.
Yeah, and that was pretty intense. But then I have to tell you, when it comes to the hurricanes, those are the ones that really cause the hair to raise up on the back of your neck, and all of them are a little bit different. All of them have their own the problems, the threats, the obstacles that you have to contend with. But you know what's weird about that? At the end of the day, the thing is our crews can get into our cars, drive to an airport, and fly back home to safety. For me, it's always a struggle knowing that you've got families, you've got moms and dads, kids, grandparents that are stuck in those communities. They're dealing with everything that system dishes out, and then when it's gone, they're left with devastation. And I mean, it just kills you. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah, right. I mean, to me, I always kind of imagine. I mean, it's like the thing with growing up, like it's cognitive dissonance almost when like you get excited about one of these things. Oh boy, like here comes the big one. This is the big one, and yet you realize that at the same. I mean, there are all these implications that these horrible life and death things that are happening. You can't fault somebody for. All right, well, this is what they do. This is what they're trained for. This is what this is what drives them and motivates them. And obviously,
absolutely.
So I don't know. Do you ever have to deal with anything like that, or like, I don't know, like you're excited about this thing, but it's something that should be bad. It's like the way I feel about like true crime or something. It's like right. Oh, I love like reading these books, and then I'm like, well, man, this is horrible. I don't know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying?
No, I follow you. I mean, we see these stories in the news, especially some that have occurred recently, and you probably know where I'm going with this, where there's evidence of true evil, where there is evil, and there is good in this world, and there is bad in it. When it comes to weather, it's not good or evil. It's a force of nature. You know what I mean?
Right.
So there's a disconnect of it. It's a full circle sort of thing. You see these giant hurricanes forming from satellite imagery way up in space. These things are way out in the ocean. They're not affecting anything or anyone, and it's just you get caught in this rapturous wonder of this force, this incredible power. But then, when that thing interacts with human lives, it changes everything. It really does. You have this kind of for me, in a sense, it's kind of a spiritual transformation where you go from this sense of awe to a sense of fear. And it's interesting, too, because when I've been doing this now 26 years, earlier in my career, I didn't think too much about danger. But mine now, my gosh, I'm 49 years old. I've got 4 kids and a wife. And now all of a sudden, you do think about families. You do think about the kids. You think about the threat. You think about the cost and what we pay in life. And it makes it a very sobering event, no question.
Well, so when was the first year? When was your first year as a meteorologist?
First year, well, it wasn't really a meteorologist. I would say I was truly a weatherman.
A weatherman.
1993, yeah, absolutely. 1993 in Anniston, Alabama, we had a tornado that struck Piedmont, Alabama. And at this point, I was just a production assistant at a television station, Channel 42 News. No, I'm sorry, it was TV 40 in Anniston, Alabama, WJSU. And the tornado struck this church in Piedmont, Alabama on a Sunday, Palm Sunday, killed a bunch of kids. News director calls the building, the news station, and the only person who's there is our chief photographer and this weird kid who's in his early 20s in Reynolds Wolf, who barely graduated from Jacksonville State. And the news director said, well, what, oh my gosh, got to get up there and got to give us some coverage. So we went up there and put a piece together, and later that night, within a matter of hours, that piece was on CBS Evening News. And we were the only station in the area. It's a terrible story and horribly put together, but it's all the network had. And they aired it, and the following Monday was offered a job for $12,000 a year, 3-year contract, no outs, and that's where it started.
Man.
But yeah, and he just kind of roll and build, and just went from that job to San Luis Obispo, California, worked for an NBC station there, then Austin, Texas, then from Austin to Detroit, then Orlando, Florida, then St. Louis, and now Atlanta for, my gosh, I guess this will be my 13th year. 6 of them at CNN and now 7 at the Weather Channel, and it has been an adventure.
So how has it changed over the years? Like, I don't know, has it changed at all?
Well, it has. It has. There's been, I mean, my God, just in terms of technology, my gosh, it makes it a heck of a lot easier now to tell a story. Years ago, if you were going to be live somewhere, you had to have this big monstrosity, these huge live trucks. Now you can go live using a cell signal. I mean, I got to be honest with you, Jeremy. Some of the images that you can just get off a random cell phone, just my iPhone, is superior to what I had 26 years ago working on television. And now, of course, at the Weather Channel, the cameras our photographers have, they're top notch, 4K. It's just beautiful, and you can really go live from any place. In terms of the broadcasting, I got to tell you, things have changed there. Instead of having more of the kind of announcer, Walter Cronkite kind of voice, now it's more of the relaxed kind of flow in delivery.
Sure.
And I think your viewers are much more forgiving, where we can actually do, I think, more even-keeled storytelling, and not with the same formality that we had, say, a decade or so ago.
Right.
So that's changed.
I got you.
Yeah.
What's the workout regimen?
The workout regimen?
I think you know where I'm going here.
Absolutely. I work out like a madman. I try to work out every single day. I try to take 0 days off. Some days I don't have a choice because I'm traveling. But yeah, it's all about staying in shape. You got to. Absolutely.
I mean, how long would it take you to drop Cantori? That's what I'm getting at here. I mean, you're both bringing the guns. It seems like. I mean, you wear these shirts sometimes, and I think I remember seeing some sort of Twitter interaction that you had with somebody who was commenting, I guess, on the gun show, as it were.
Oh, geez.
And
oh gosh, yeah, I could go on for hours about that stuff. There's a lot of answers to it. First of all, I love Jim Cantori so much, I can't even imagine getting into an argument with him about everything. He is such a great guy. When it comes to the stuff that we wear, that is one big change that has happened in the industry over, say, the last 10 to 15 years. Everything we wear is now cotton free, and it's made with this lycra kind of stuff. And the design behind that is that when you're on cover, you get soaked like you wouldn't believe, and within minutes you're completely dry. Where if you're in the tropics covering these things up, really cotton is the enemy, because it absorbs everything. It'll pull it right out of the air, and you're just going to be a stinky, nasty, horrible mess the rest of the day. But you're bringing up social media. Maybe that's one of the biggest things that has really changed in the last 10 to 15 years. Because a long time ago, if you wanted to reach out to a, let's say you're a viewer or a listener, and you want to reach out to a broadcaster, you gotta put a stamp to a letter, stamp to an envelope, and you just send it.
Right.
Or you just try to call, and maybe you can get through the switchboard through the operator, and you can get the person on the phone. But hell, man, now you've got Facebook, you've got Twitter, you've got Instagram. Communication is easy, and it is at times instantaneous.
Yeah. That's
really weird. Really weird.
Is Stephanie Abrams as nice as she seems?
Stephanie is one of my favorite people of all time. I adore Stephanie Abrams. Stephanie is one of the most real human beings I will ever know, and she's got her heart on her sleeve, and she is as honest as can be. And she will tell you what she thinks at the drop of a hat. She's fantastic. Married to a great guy who I love very much. Good people.
You know, she went to Florida, right?
I do know. What's interesting about that is she is a Florida Gator, but she went to her meteorology is from Florida State. So you talk about a conflict there.
Yeah. Weird. Ooh.
But she's a Gator all the way. She's totally a Gator.